Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you are watching this. Know that I appreciate you. Good morning, good morning. It is I, Jay, and I'd like to welcome you to another day in the daily life of Jay. It is Monday morning, January 25th, I believe, 2021, and it is about 8:35 in the a.m. and I have basically 20 minutes to get to work, get set up, and welcome a new employee. I don't know how that's gonna happen. I don't even know, because I'm not getting on the freeway. It is Monday morning, for one, worst time to be on the freeway, and also the ground is wet for June. No, I've already told you all how crazy they drive here, how unpredictable they are. They do not follow the rules of the road very well, and I can do without a Monday morning accident. How about that? So I will be taking the streets. So it's going to take me a little bit longer to get there, but hey, it is what it is. I'm praying that traffic is light on the road, light on the streets, but I can't be mad if it's not, because I should have been on the road and halfway to work by now. Been on the road and halfway to work by now. How can you see? I'm sorry. He just rolled past me real fast with foggy windows. Oh, do you see that sun shining on my pretty brown face? It's gorgeous. And that means I can turn this down, because I don't need all that heat right now. As a matter of fact, that's how hot I am right now. I'm hot, man. I'm hot. How was your weekend? How did you sleep? Did you do anything productive? Did you sleep well? Or did you just rest because that's what you needed? I pray that whatever it was that you needed to do or needed out of this weekend, you indeed got it. My weekend started out in an interesting way. Not so much interesting in the aspect of unusual, but interesting in that I had not anticipated, even though I should have. I had not anticipated that we would have to do this. So last week was a very long week. We had a new employee start, and trying to get this new employee up to speed in a short amount of time was not the easiest. And not to mention that I have not had very good nights of sleep. Out of the entire 5 days, I may have gotten one good night. So last week was a long week for me. By the way, that new employee has quit already. So last night was not the easiest, or not last night, last week was not the easiest week. It was rather long. So when I got home Friday, I had hoped, I had anticipated that I would be able to relax. The husband and his digestive system, his intestinal system, had a different idea. So we did end up in the ER Friday evening until Saturday morning. Did not get home until about 1:15, 1:30. Therefore, did not go right to bed. Did not fall right to sleep when I did get in the bed. And I did attempt to sleep in, but my body said, get up. So, well, I woke up and I stayed in the bed for at least another hour. I chose not to get right on up. Stayed in the bed for at least another hour, and then my body said, all right already, get up. So I did, and I had an attitude the entire day. And the husband said that I was, what did he say that I was being? Whatever it was that he said I was being, I initially was going to deny it, and then I said, no, why lie? No, this is who I am right now. Plain and simple. I was agitated. I was irritated. I was not in a good mood. Simply because I had not had enough rest. And instead of him, in my mind, instead of him understanding that, he just kept going as if the night before had not happened. So I had an attitude, big time. That's what he said. He said I had an attitude, and I was gonna say no, and I was like, no, you're right, I do. I have an attitude right now, in this moment. Attitude, yes. So we figured out how to make it work. I figured out how to adjust my attitude. So that it wasn't an all-encompassing factor, and we made it through Saturday. But I also started going through these totes of paper that I have. If you've not seen some of my previous videos, what you don't know is that I am not a Texas native. We moved here from Chicago, and it took us basically 2.5 years to get all of our stuff here, because we didn't ship anything down. We would just drive back to Chicago and get our stuff. So the last time we drove to Chicago was October 2019. And we picked up the last of the things that we had. And it took me more than a year to go through all of the pictures, because I had not just my pictures, but my mom's pictures and my grandmother's pictures. And it was a part of my grieving process still. And I did not realize that I was still grieving until I paid attention to how long it took me to actually go through the stuff. So it took me more than a year to finally go through all of the pictures. I'd gone through bits and pieces of them. Like I would go through a tote here and start organizing, and then I just couldn't anymore, so I put them all back. And finally, just before, probably just before my birthday in November, I started going through them again and dispersing them and sharing them with the family on Facebook and all of that stuff. And I finally did with them what I wanted to do. What I decided to do, what I wanted to do initially is not what I ended up doing, and I'm okay with that. It worked out better this way. So I still had not gone through all of the paper that I had from myself, and I had already gone through my mom's paper. I had to when she passed away. I had to, because I couldn't hold on to all of the stuff that she had. I had already gone through the majority of the paper that my grandparents had. I had to, because I couldn't bring it. I couldn't take it with me. Even when I moved, I could not. And I'm not talking about just when I moved to Texas from Chicago. I mean also when I moved from the house to the apartment, and then moved her from her apartment to our apartment. I couldn't take it all. So the stuff that and even when we did move from Chicago to Texas, I downsized their paper even more. So really the majority of the paper that I had to go through was my paper. And I had gone through all of that quite a bit, but I still had quite a bit with me. So whereas I had, before Saturday, I had probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 totes of paper, one of which is filled with my grandparents and my mom. But 4 of those totes were strictly mine. My children and their childhood to a degree, me and my childhood to a degree, and then also my time spent in interior design school, I still had quite a bit of that paper. So I had to start going through that stuff, and I got rid of, I would say probably 2.5 like full kitchen trash bag. Yeah, 2.5 full kitchen trash bags worth of paper. And that's not including the stuff that needs to be shredded. That's in a separate pile, all on its own, that needs to be shredded. I still had paperwork from my 20th class reunion, trying to organize everything, the hotel, all the contact information. I still had all of that. And just to give you some context, my 20th class reunion was in 2008. Yeah. So I still had that. I still had my first check stub from the last company that I full-time worked for in Chicago, the offer letter from one of the contract assignments that I had, I had so much stuff. I had my oldest son's first pay stubs. I still had all of that. So I just started clearing stuff out So like I said, probably a good 2.5 full trash bags. Two full trash bags and then a half one of paper. Please drive. Please drive. And you're choosing not to. Okay, which means I have to get into the lane that I don't want to be in. So yeah. So I have 2 completely empty totes. One tote, I really only had like half full, but some of the stuff that I had taken out, like I had binders and binders of design ideas and crafting ideas and things of that nature. So I had them in plastic protector sheets inside the binders. So I had to pull out all of those ideas because they were so outdated. I mean, tremendously so outdated, that even if if I were still an interior designer and wanted to bring any of that back, I would not, because that's how outdated it was, and it should not ever come back. Not ever. No portion of it. So I had to pull that stuff out, toss it, but then the binders and the protector sheets, I've got a project for that stuff, but instead of it continuously cluttering up my space, just so that until I get everything cleaned up, I put them in the tote that was only half full, so that I could just easily reach them when I'm ready for them. I think I have one more. Do I have one more to go through? No, I don't have any more to go through. So I do have a tote with books in it, and I'm not going to take all of the books out of the tote because I just don't have the room for all of the books. So I will end up just leaving those in the totes. I might take a couple out to put them on the bookshelf, but other than that, I'll leave them in the totes and just store the tote away. And I used to have way more books than that. I got rid of a lot of books. Once upon a time in our basement, when we had the 2 flat, in our basement there was a bookshelf. That bookshelf was full of books. And I don't mean just a standard bookshelf. I mean wall to wall, just about, almost library type bookshelves. And they were industrial because it was the basement, and repair repairs and stuff like that were done in the basement, but we actually used our basement for entertainment. We painted it out and used it. We had a bar down there and everything. But we had that bookshelf, wall to wall just about, and it was full of books. My books, my grandmother's books, my mom's books. It was full of books. And when we moved, when they sold the building, we got rid of half of those books. But my mom still had a bunch. I still had a bunch, especially from school. And my grandmother still had a lot. So I ended up with quite a few books. And when I moved my grandmother out of their senior apartment after my grandfather passed away, I got rid of even more books just because I didn't have the space for them. I just did not have the space. So I still have probably 2 totes worth of books. One of those totes is full right now. The other tote is on my bookshelf, on one of my bookshelves. So I don't have the room for all of these books that I now have, as I said. So I'll probably just keep them in the totes, take out a couple, put those on the bookshelf, and leave the rest in the tote, like I said, and store it away. Or store it so it's just not in the way, something like that. So yeah, that's what I did this weekend, and my office is a hot hell mess right now because I've got paper all over the place. My desks are full, and I still have I still got to vacuum, I still got to shampoo in there, I still got to organize, I still got to do a lot of stuff for this space. But I'm grateful that I got rid of a lot of stuff. I am proud of myself for getting rid of as much as I did, because I swear I hold on to stuff. I hold on to stuff. And I knew that I held on to it, but I did not know why, and I figured out why. So I figured it out going through the pictures. So I'm grateful that I was able to do that this weekend. I did not work on my vision boards at all because top of my mind was to get this paper out of here. So I'm going to try to finish that up throughout the week, and my vision board. Try to finish that up throughout the week and go from there. I mean, even if and the main thing for me right now, outside of, I'm not understanding why you're so close to me. I've got to shred. I've got a ton of paper to shred. So I got to shred and get that out. And then I've got to do the cleaning part. So that's on the agenda for this week. Shred and clean, shred and clean. And then of course finish up the vision board. I haven't bought any finance magazines, so I've got to do that so that I can finish up the finance part of the vision board. And then write in the things that I need to write in, and then that's it. That's it. I've got to get to this other lane. So yeah, that was my weekend. That was my weekend. Getting him to the ER and back home, running a couple, and we got along for the rest of the weekend. After I got past, the attitude that I had, we got along for the rest of the weekend. He started feeling better because the medication that they gave him really helped. So he started feeling better, which put him in a better mood, and I actually got some sleep. I actually took a nap Saturday, so that put me in a better mood. And then I was actually getting something accomplished. And when you get something accomplished, it does put you in a better mood. I'm so hungry right now because I did not eat my cereal. Didn't have time. So we ended up getting along for the rest of the weekend. He did something I don't necessarily care for, but I have turned it over to God, plain and simple. I've turned it over to God because I can't do it. I did find something that I thought was really very funny, and I showed it to him. When we first got married, we went to marriage counseling because just the craziness of it all. It's like I knew who he was. I absolutely knew who he was, for the most part, I will say. After we got married, the things that I knew became more illuminated, and then other things were added to it. And when I say the things that I knew, I mean some of the negative stuff that I knew became more illuminated, and more things were added to it, or it intensified, because I knew that he liked to spend money. So after we got married, it intensified. So when we went to marriage counseling, one of the things that was discussed was his spending, and it was to the point where we had to have him, and when I say we, I mean the counselors, said that this is something that needs to happen because it is affecting your family, and we don't want this to negatively affect your family. So we had him sign a contract that he would be more mindful of his spending, and I found that contract and I showed it to him, and he just laughed because he knows that he has not stuck to that at all. It was probably wiped out of his mind. I had actually forgotten about it until I found it. So yeah, I also, and I had been looking for my birth certificate, my original birth certificate. I had been looking for my original, not necessarily original, but my Social Security card and our original marriage license, and I could not find them. I just couldn't, and I knew that I had them. I knew that I had them. It was just a matter of where are they? Well, they were packed away in an envelope, in a box, in one of the totes. And I want to say that I had them in that envelope because I needed them for insurance purposes. I was filling out some insurance paperwork, and I had them in an envelope all together. I think, and I really think what it was that I was changing the beneficiary on my life insurance policy when I had life insurance with State Farm. I changed the beneficiary, and you have to have all of this documentation to do that. And so I had it all in an envelope and just packed it away and didn't think about it again until it was time for me to find it. I was like, I cannot find this stuff. I have gotten since then two additional Social Security cards, and I never even told him that I could not find our original marriage license. And there was something else that I found in there. Oh, and I also found my divorce papers from my first husband, which I also had to have for the very same reason, to inform them, you know, to prove to them that I was no longer married to that one man, to the one man, and married to the new man. So I found that this weekend, and just, it was good for me to look at the stuff. I found some floor plans that I had done for a salon that my aunt wanted to purchase. One of my aunts wanted to purchase a while ago, years ago. And then she never did, but she wanted me to do some plans for it just in case. So I'd gone out to see the spot, I'd taken measurements, I came up with a floor plan, mocked it out and everything. Furniture ideas, all of that stuff, and then she ended up not doing it. It fell through financially. So yeah, going through all this stuff was good for me. I am finally in a place where I can do this. Now, I do probably still need to go through the paperwork from my grandparents and my mom, but I'm not going to do it just yet. Being honest with myself, I'm not going to do it just yet. I don't know when, but I'm not. And it's not that it's a whole lot of stuff. Again, all three of them. I have one tote that has all three of the paperwork that I have left for them. And I was holding on to stuff because I wasn't sure what my uncle was going to do. So I have quite a bit of my grandmother's Social Security information, my grandfather's Social Security information, and my mom's. I just got rid of her first, it's in the shred pile, her Social Security award letter. It's in the shred pile. I'm gonna leave it in the shred pile. So yeah. So I'm feeling good about all this stuff, that I was able to get rid of all of this stuff, this baggage that I've been holding on to and weighing me down and causing me such discomfort. And we tend to do that. We tend to do things that cause us unknowingly so much discomfort. And we need to figure out what that is, what's causing it, and come to terms with whatever it is and then get rid of it. The other thing that I have found in this weekend is that we tend to do things that fit our comfort zone versus challenging us because it's uncomfortable. Because it's uncomfortable. We would rather be in something comfortable, safe. It goes along with what we do and who we are. It doesn't challenge us at all, rather than us being challenged and growing. Challenged and growing. I'm going to do a live on this because I think it's needed. I think people need to hear it. So give me one sec, guys. I'm going to order breakfast. Alright, somehow instead of me hitting the unpause button, I hit the pause button. Or the off button rather. And I knew what I was doing as soon as I did it. Waiting for my food. Gotta get in the office. It is now 9:04. Our new employee should hopefully be there and waiting for me. We shall see. And I've got to taste my tea.
That's a biscuit, the last one. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. As I was saying, we tend to do things that are comfortable to us instead of doing things that challenge us and bring about growth. Now, there are two verses in the Bible that I will use, and I don't know, in all honesty, I cannot remember the book, the chapter, or the verse number. But I do know that one is, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. And then the other one is, it talks about how endurance builds character. Enduring builds character. And if I remember, what I'll do is I'll add those two scriptures later. I'll add them later. But for now, understand that. And I'll talk more about it, because I'm going to do a live on it, but I'll talk more about it later. I may just do, well, I may post once I download the live video, I may just post it here as well, and not just to my pro channel. And I even talk about why I said what I said. So, peace and blessings. Remember to walk in your purpose and know that I appreciate you. Now I got to get in this office. Hopefully this new employee is here.